So I was asked this question earlier today, and I thought this would be a good moment in order to explain my belief on the importance of Bitcoin, especially the more capital that you have. Bitcoin is the future. Whether or not we all may or may not agree on it, it doesn't necessarily matter, because Bitcoin is just the next step to the evolution of currency, or in this case, money. Because technically speaking, Bitcoin isn't currency; it's actual money. It can be replicated, meaning that's what makes a difference from a currency to money. And the thing is, every so often, historically speaking, there's a change of currencies. Whether or not we like it or not, it's just how life is. Imagine, the dollar's only been the global currency since 1945. It's been less than 80 years right now. It's been 78 years, 77 years at this point in life. So it's not a lot of time. And the thing is about currencies is that because time speeds up and tech is speeding up time, the duration that currencies have as a global market is shortened. So, for example, the last currency that was, I think it's the pound, that was, kicking butt, lasted like 115 years or something like that. Or that was 100 years, and the one before that was like 115 years, and before that was like 140 years or whatever. It's basically dropping between 10 and 15% every time there's a shift of currencies. So if this is constantly repeating itself in history, it means that this is just going to happen again. Like, it's going to happen to Bitcoin or whatever stable coin may be the global reserve currency in another 60 to 80 years or whatever. It's just going to be it's just a normal part of history. That's why they don't want to teach us history in school, and they don't want to teach the connections of history in school, because if you know history, you know your future. If you know your past, you can predict your future. Really simple. And that's just the one concept. The other concept about it is that Bitcoin and the philosophy of crypto and Bitcoin in many cases is to help the small person to make sure you have the preservation of your wealth. Meaning, Bitcoin provides two different types of savings. One that becomes a hedge over the current system, meaning the appreciation value of Bitcoin right now is going to skyrocket another 100x, 1000x, 10,000x over the course of 5, 10, 20, 40, 50 years. So with just the appreciation value of Bitcoin means, like, even you own $1 today, in 30, 40 years, it's worth 10 grand. It's going to be like that. And the fact that you can still earn some type of interest with it off of like many different platforms, it's not a lot. It's like 1 to 5-6% is the average. But that accumulation of it shows the power of Bitcoin, meaning you're able to hedge your capital to make sure you're safe if there is an economic collapse. Because a lot of times, so there's been 7 currency collapses in governance thus far, and the people lose like 90% of their wealth from these collapses, because it's a tax on inflation. You're getting taxed using inflation. And imagine, so it's like, before the pandemic began, inflation rate, I don't remember no more. I think it was like 4% or something like that. But now it's at 8.5. So we're getting charged 4% more in tax fees already because of inflation. But that also deducts your buying power. So you're losing $85 of value for every $1,000 that you have because of inflation. And that doesn't include like everything else you're getting taxed on. So it's like, really, it's like 15%, 15 to 20%. So it's like every $1,000 you're paying, every $1,000 per year, you're paying $150 to $200 a year additional in taxes because of inflation principles, deflation principles, rising tax rates, marginal tax rates, sales tax, income tax, capital gains tax. You see what's going on, like all the Democrats want to do, raising taxes. And so that's going to take away employment from people. When people have the opportunity to rely on a tangible money or currency that's not backed by a government entity, and it gives business owners and entrepreneurs the opportunity to build and utilize more businesses and provide more employment, because you're not tied down to the belief of one entity or one institution. Because this is in this case, it's decentralized to the point where it could be utilized by anybody and purchased by anybody. So that becomes a very important aspect, that, you know, before, for you to buy the dollar, you have to give up your gold. And look what happened there in 1933. It's the same thing is going to happen with like Bitcoin. Like, we already see it going on in China, Canada, you know, many Russia, Ukraine. They're trying to blacklist your crypto. So I would like to believe, you know, I don't like to believe it, but I am confident in believing that in 2033, that year, or around that time period, they will attempt to black market or blacklist your crypto if they don't like what you're doing. And that's going to be another reason people are going to revolt as time goes on. People are already beginning to revolt, but the complete change of paradigms with the governmental infrastructure will really begin in about another 4 to 5 years. Every 250 years, there's a revolution. So, and it's a revolution against governance, because governments, if the Constitution is based on limiting powers of the federal government, why do they have so much power with no oversight? And that becomes the question for the next couple of years, because government's going to continue oversighting your money. I mean, like, they're basically going to let you know that, hey, you might have millions of dollars, but whether it's the dollar or crypto or anything, you don't own it. That's our money. And that is a stupid ass idea, and that's a stupid ass concept, that letting such a small, minuscule amount of individuals control such a massive amount of power of the monetary system. So as the world continues to shift, I see that the world, the concept of money will evolve and be shifted towards where people with the money is going to be controlled by people. And if that does become a case, government's only job is to make sure that the political agenda and the infrastructure of the country is built and solidified and continue growing and reproducing. Right now, that's not their job. Their job really is to tax as much as you can and create a double spending problem with taxes, so they can pocket themselves, and then think about infrastructure and all these other things that government is really supposed to do. That's not what they do. They tax, they cover their pockets, they create these weird escrow contracts so they get paid when they leave office, so it doesn't look like anything too shady or whatever. And then XYZ starts to occur, you know? So that change, Bitcoin's creating that type of change, but it's going to be solidified with other altcoins in this case. But if, I don't even know, what is it, 85% of Bitcoin's been mined already, maybe more, maybe less, I have no idea. But if most of that income is owned by such a small group of people, it's going to create a big problem for us. It's going to prove that history is going to repeat itself again. That's all it's going to prove. Like in another 50, 60, 70, 80 years, when there's another shift of financial instruments, that it's just going to happen again. But that could change if we're able to decentralize the money game. Meaning, like, government can't have the type of control they currently have. I believe we need government for regulations and policies, but if they have allowed stagnation over innovation and financial instruments and all these other factors since 1945, since 1909, really, since the standardization of education, what else are they stagnating us with? And so if you look at it, it's like, again, if you have $100,000 of capital for your business, that's $8,500 of buying power you're currently already lost. and the government's still going to tax you even more money with what you already have to pay for. So it's like 100 grand in capital, you're already paying 20 to 33% of taxes, plus the depreciation of inflation and deflation. And the fact that this country's not innovating quick enough, the fact that we're not innovating and we're not teaching people to innovate is the reason why businesses are beginning to fail, because they're not prepared for today's era. And if you're not prepared for today's era, well, honestly, you're fucked. That's just how it always is. And so because of that, that's why I believe it's very important for businesses to start accepting Bitcoin and create a treasury in Bitcoin instead of accumulating the dollar. Use a stable coin and Bitcoin, and that way the stable coin never changes its value from whatever you deposit into it, but you're able to get 6, 14, 16, 18% interest instead of 1/4% interest. And then you're able to also utilize your profits from stablecoin to purchase more Bitcoin, stake that and accumulate and accrue your Bitcoin. That way you're protected as a business, because, for example, if your business is a subscription-based business, meaning you have consistent revenue coming in on a monthly basis, it's worth 4 times its value. And so if it's like you're making $1 million a year, you can sell it for 4. If your business is based off always having customers come in, it's not really monthly subscription based or anything like that, it's worth 75 cents of the dollar. So you can sell it for 750 grand in that case. So regardless of, like, if you have a treasury, say, hey, we created the systems and the tech and all the third-party utilizations to accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, whatever it might be, that itself creates a big value in your business if it's a demanded business, because it's like, hey, look, you could then pitch like, hey, we're selling this business for X dollars and we already created all these infrastructure for it, meaning we made over $300,000-$400,000 worth of Bitcoin, and we use this and this and this. Instead of having 8 to 10 Bitcoin, now we really have 15 to 20 Bitcoin because of the way we use it. Now that information becomes extremely useful over just over the basic foundations of what your business truly is. So it can change your perspective on how to utilize business because of the way you're becoming a financial instrument instead of being just retail or wholesale or a goods and service business or whatever it might be. But this way, now you're becoming a multi-industry business, and people are able to buy your business because they're saying, hey, look, oh man, like, this is what they're doing. Cool. That benefits the sale of the business if I choose to sell it. And that's really everything I got for you right now, man. I hope that, guys, that helps you grow your business and continues moving forward in understanding, hey, I kind of need this. A lot of businesses, imagine the businesses right this moment that are, I'm not going to say all of them because that would be false, but a significant portion of businesses that are succeeding tremendously over, and regardless of what industry you're in, retail, wholesale, farming, agriculture, it doesn't matter. But the ones who are accepting Bitcoin and Ethereum as forms of payment, they're doing double, triple, 4 times better than most of these businesses because the value of their treasury has gone up so much that's like, yo, like, why am I not going to accept this? Imagine you put in 1% of your treasury. If you put 1% of your treasury in March of 2020, your value at the top of the market for Bitcoin went up 22x. So if you put in $1,000, then you got 22 grand. If you were, you bought, sold, flipped, you staked it. If you started staking it and flipped it and did this and that with it, that's really like 40, 50 grand. So that adds up. And that's what people realize, like, oh man, like, okay, cool. This is how you save money, because now you have a hedge to use more working capital to purchase more stuff for your business. And if you're not able to do that, these businesses that are understanding, hey, if I can 20x my treasury alone, just have it sitting there, That means I'm able to price out my competition. So all you guys who are not accepting crypto, the people who own the pet stores who are accepting crypto, they're gonna buy you out because you're not competition anymore, because you're not allowing yourself to advance into the financial system 2.0 or 3.0 or whatever kind of financial system you want to predicate it as, from ever since this constantly changes historically. So food for thought. Hope this helps out, guys. Again, my name's Rob. I'm with ABL. So if you like this, like it, subscribe, share this with your friends and family, and I hope this helps you out as on your journey. Take care.